This is Karl-Anthony Towns playing NBA Infinite. And here's me playing alongside Cat in his 3v3 team against other content creators. Now we have to take a couple of steps back before we get to how this actually happened, and it all kicks off with the Courtside creator program, which I have to give a massive shout out to because without them this opportunity would never have happened for me. And if you guys want to go ahead and take a look at the program and potentially join yourselves, I will leave the link in the description down below. Alongside that, I will also leave the link to the full live stream of this entire event, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. But this event was going to be a 3v3 tournament. There were multiple different stages to it. The very first one was just going to be creators going up against each other in a round robin format to see which team would come out on top. On my team, I had Kith and Sora. I will leave their links in the description down below as well. And our lineup consisted of Kith playing as D'Angelo Russell and Sora playing as a 92 overall LeBron James. Now, Sora not only had an absolutely insane card, he was also ranked top 10 in 3v3 on the North America servers, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I knew I was in good company and all we had to do was get the ball around and play some good basketball. And our first matchup was against NoobKill213, Bobby Buckets, and D Hitman YT. Now all of these guys I remember watching back in the day in NBA Live Mobile. In season 1, these guys were absolutely killing it on YouTube and they still are today. So this was a lot of fun to go ahead and play our first game. I can't lie, I was a bit nervous kicking things off, but I knew I had Sora, who is that top 10 in rank 3v3, and of course Kith as well had been going over some plays and stuff that we could do. So we knew exactly what we needed to do. We just had to go ahead and execute it. We gave Sora the space and that's all he needed to drop an absolutely ridiculous three-pointer with that 92 LeBron James. So by this point we are up by 4 points now in the game, and again we were playing some pretty good defense, stopping them from taking wide open looks as Bogdanovic tries to knock down a two-pointer and misses it. I pick up the rebound there, putting my rebound total up to 3. So we had Sora getting that fadeaway shot off and he just missed that one. I pick up the rebound. I found a bit of space and I could have maybe gone for a shot there. In fact, I probably should have, but I played it back out to Sora and he came through with that insane tomahawk dunk, and we got a replay on that one. This LeBron is absolutely crazy. It's insane to see him at 92 overall already. And then Bogdanovic missed his shot at the end there to end the game 14-6. And of course, Sora got a well-deserved MVP to kick things off for us in this tournament. So we had won our first game. I don't think I played too badly in that first game, sort of filling in that role of getting the rebounds and the assists, as I got 4 rebounds and 1 assist, but I can't really compare to Sora and Kith, both of them with 7 points in that game. So then on to our second matchup where we were against Still Alive GG, DRL and Brutalism as well. We'd come off the back of that first win and we were ready to get a second one with Kith coming through with the easy layup to kick things off. Now this team had won their first game against Bobby Bucket's team and we knew it was going to be fairly tough to try and beat them, but I managed to find a bit of space with Gordon as we come through for that easy two-handed slam. So I was struggling a little bit to try and get the rebounds over DRL's Embiid. Of course, Gordon being that little bit shorter, but we didn't need that as Sora comes through with another dunk there to put us up to a 2-point lead. But DRL managed to get a rebound followed by a dunk to tie up the game again with 3 seconds left on the clock. We both tried to set a screen for Kith. He didn't really need it though. He got the step back off and he managed to knock down an insane buzzer beater to give us the win in the game. And that is our second win in the tournament so far. And of course, Sora got his second MVP in that game. Kith managed to get 7 points, and again, I was pretty much getting carried at this point by the two of them. I was holding my own a little bit, but I just got massively out-rebounded by that Joel Embiid. And at the halfway stage in that first round, you can see the leaderboard over there. We were up to 2 wins. We had a great points differential of +11 as we headed on into our third matchup, which was again up against Team Bobby Buckets, and we beaten them the first time, so we were a little bit confident that we could try and get ourselves a second dub. We might have been a little bit too overconfident as Bobby Buckets opened the scoring with a 3-pointer with his player. Bobby Buckets' team was playing some pretty good defense this time around, and they made it a lot more difficult for us to find those wide open looks. By this point, we all knew we needed a massive comeback as we played the ISO on Sora and he dished it out to me for a wide open look for a 3-pointer. We were desperately trying to get 3-pointers to try and tie up the game a little bit. They found me wide open and I got a good release, but unfortunately Aaron Gordon there just about missed that shot. I managed to get the board and play it out to Kith as again we were trying to get those 3-pointers. He goes for that step back 3 and he manages to knock knock it down. They only had a 4-point lead in the game, but unfortunately it was only down to 6 seconds left in the game itself, as they ended it off there with a missed shot. But seeing as they lost their last game, we thought we were guaranteed pretty much to go through to the next round, but we still wanted to end things off with a win against Team DRL. And still alive, GG managed to knock down an insane 360 dunk there with Paul George, so I knew I had to come back with a dunk of my own as Gordon comes through with that insane tomahawk dunk to give us back that 2-point lead. And the game stayed being really close up until the final minute, as we were up by just 1 point now, but Team DRL were not going to give up the win that easily. Aaron Gordon was left wide open, and I just about knocked down that 3-pointer to give us back the lead, as it kept changing between both our teams. But with 5 seconds left on the clock, we tried to play an ISO, but unfortunately I was guarded pretty heavily by that Joel Embiid, and I just had to chuck it up, and unfortunately we lose the game there to Team DRL. So that meant after the first round, the leaderboard looked like this. Team DRL had won 3 games and lost 1. Our team had a 50% win percentage, and Team Bobby there were right at the bottom with that 25% win percentage. However, because we were in the top 2, we did manage to make it through to round 2, which was where one member from each team would play 1v1 in Dynasty in a best of 3 situation. So first up, it was Kith against DRL, and Kith managed to get the win to put us up 1-0. And then all Sora needed to do was win his game, and he did, to make it 2-0, and I didn't even have to play because of course it was best of 3, which meant we progressed to round 3, which was where we got to play Mr. Karl-Anthony Towns. And this was just an unreal experience. He actually joined our Discord call. He was a really down-to-earth person, and we were just having a normal conversation in between the games and all of that stuff. He sounded really genuine about the game in terms of him liking it and his enjoyment of actually playing it. But he just sounded like a really sound guy, and I just had to keep reminding myself as I was speaking to an actual NBA player who has dropped 62 points in a game and managed to make the All-Star team 4 times now, and it was just really surreal. And for the first game, it was Kith and Sora teaming up with Karl-Anthony Towns, as he used a maxed out version of himself in the game. And for the second game, Karl-Anthony Towns was using Anthony Davis. Kith of course was using that D'Angelo Russell, and I was playing as Aaron Gordon. You can see Karl-Anthony Towns there in the bottom left of the screen. He was ready to go in this game. He was concentrating, as were we all, and I can't lie, I was really nervous trying to play this game as we go down 4-0 at the start. I had faith in Karl-Anthony Towns' ability to play this game, as he comes through with a dunk himself. If you haven't already, go check out the video where he played with QJB and Noob Kill, because you can see he has got a lot of skill when it comes to NBA Infinite. You can see me trying to find a little bit of space, but I had to dish it back out to Kith over there as he found a little bit of room to try and get a shot off. He got the step back off, unfortunately just missing that one, and again it was that Embiid under the rim, this time played by still alive GG. But he was guarded up pretty closely by Karl-Anthony Towns, who was playing great defense to force it to a contested shot. And you can tell our opponents were pulling out the stops as D Hitman knocked down an insane step back shot. So then I thought I'd set a screen on the right for Karl-Anthony Towns to use, which he did. He didn't find enough space though to get a shot off, and then it was just me against Tatum as I found a bit of space to come through with that tomahawk dunk to end off the play. And I just remember Karl-Anthony Towns saying that it's crazy to think that Gordon actually pulled that off in a dunk contest as well. But we were still down by 6 points as I tried to find Kith wide open, who found Karl-Anthony Towns for the wide open look, yet another 2 points up for him. He did go up for a tough layup, but I was there to get the board and play it back out to him. He went up again for that contested shot. Again, I had him, and then I just went up for a contested shot. He went up and got the rebound, and then he ended the playoff with an insane putback dunk with that Anthony Davis. We were trading those offensive rebounds, but he managed to finish that one off. We had Tatum pulling off some ridiculous dribble moves on me, making me dizzy, and unfortunately Embiid there just getting the rebound to get another 2 points for our opponents and put them up to an 8-point lead. We had Kith then knocking down that 3-pointer off of the step back, which again, he was absolutely on fire with those step back 3-pointers. But with just over 20 seconds to go, me and Towns both got out rebounded by that Embiid twice. I'm telling you, Embiid is a rebound monster when you time those rebounds right. And Embiid with a 3rd rebound in a row to get himself the dunk. And then with time running down a little bit, I tried to go in for a shot. I probably should have played it out to Kith, but it doesn't matter. We were going to lose that one anyway. And Embiid, rightly so, getting that MVP. But now on to the second and final game with Karl-Anthony Towns. Whoever got the most MVPs in total would go ahead and play against Karl-Anthony Towns in 1v1 Dynasty. Sora was on 1 MVP. That second game we lost, so unfortunately no one got an MVP there. So if I'd got an MVP, it would have pushed it to a tiebreaker. If Sora got one, of course, that would guarantee him to make it through to that 1v1 Dynasty mode. And of course, if no one got it, Sora would go ahead and win the game. So there were some stakes in this final matchup. And of course, we wanted to get the win for Karl-Anthony Towns, seeing as we had lost that second game. And we had Towns playing as Zion Williamson in the game. I had to switch to using Paul George, and then Sora was using Pascal Siakam. As I tried to get a step back shot off with Paul George, he was wide open. I think I got a perfect release on that one as well, but unfortunately I just missed that one, with the game still tied up at 2 apiece. But for the first half of the game, the score stayed fairly low, with it just being 4-2 with about 1 minute 30 left on the clock. We had Embiid playing it out to Dame, who missed his shot, and we finally got an offensive rebound with Karl-Anthony Towns with a bit of space. He played it over to me, and I was trying so hard to get around Dame, but I played it back to Karl-Anthony Towns, and he managed to knock down a ridiculous dunk with that Zion. From there, again, we were getting out rebounded by that Embiid under the hoop, but finally Siakam managed to get a board. As I tried to go through, I found Karl-Anthony Towns in the space to knock down a 2-pointer, giving myself a second assist to Karl-Anthony Towns. And what a sentence that is. I never thought starting YouTube I'd ever be able to say I gave Karl-Anthony Towns 2 assists in a game. But Embiid's rebounding was keeping our opponents in the game, as it was tied up 6 apiece. We had Karl-Anthony Towns finding Sora on the left-hand side for an open 3, but unfortunately he just missed that one. But Karl-Anthony Towns managed to get a rebound and get a dunk off with that Zion again. And then we had Dame knocking down a 2-pointer within the final few seconds to send the game to overtime. So we had a minute to try and get the win. And our opponent kicked things off with a heavily contested look, with Sora there getting the rebound. I dribbled out to the 3-point arc, played it over to Towns as he tried to find a bit of space, which he did, for that 360 dunk to give us that 2-point lead in overtime. And you can see his reaction as well after he made that basket. He was loving it with the dunks from Zion. I was trying to find a bit of space, but I couldn't. I found Towns again, and he came through with that windmill dunk to give us that 2-point lead again, with just under 30 seconds left on the clock, which forced them to take a heavily contested layup, followed by me being found wide open to drill the 2-pointer to give us that 4-point lead now in the game. And I think our opponents were slightly on the ropes now. They had 4 seconds to knock down a 3 and get a stop for an extra basket. They missed the 3, we dish it out, and we end it off with Karl-Anthony Towns getting the assist to Sora for 3. And Karl-Anthony Towns ended up with the MVP of that game. He was absolutely on fire with that Zion Williamson, but it did mean that I was sadly out of the competition, and Sora well-deservedly went through to that final round to play Karl-Anthony Towns 1v1 in Dynasty. I won't spoil what happened in that final round of Dynasty against Sora and Karl-Anthony Towns himself. You can go ahead and check out the video on NBA Infinite's YouTube channel. I'll leave the link to that in the description and the pinned comment. It was absolutely insane to watch these two go at it in 1v1 Dynasty. You had Karl-Anthony Towns with that real basketball knowledge mixed with the skill of being able to play the game. You had Sora, who was ranked insanely high on 3v3, ranked pretty well on Dynasty as well. So it made for a really exciting game to watch. So definitely go check that out. But again, massive shout out to the Courtside Creators program, because never in a million years did I ever think I'd be playing NBA Infinite with an NBA player, let alone Karl-Anthony Towns, who is just absolutely insane. Again, he was a super nice, down-to-earth person and a really genuine guy. From the conversations we were having in between games and just playing the game as well, it was so much fun to be a part of this event. And hopefully I get to be a part of more events like this, because this one was honestly just so much fun. I do think I need to get slightly better at the game to keep up with all of these guys, because all of the content creators and Karl-Anthony Towns himself played absolutely amazing. But obviously, there were a lot of 3v3 matchups with the pressure on in this event. And if you want to go check out this video I made going through a ton of tips and tricks when it comes to gameplay in NBA Infinite to level up your game and hopefully play that little bit better, go check out the video in the bottom left hand corner, and I'll see you guys in that one. Peace.